Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to our Committee of the Whole meeting. We have present Sharon Whitkin, our chair, is present by phone, and I'll be leading the meeting as vice chair. And we also have our attorney, Attorney Allison Hanna, is also joining us by phone. So welcome to everyone that could be present and those of you that are watching or listening online. Thank you. At this time, I would ask our superintendent if she'll bring the invocation, and those that are comfortable, please stand and stay standing for our pledge.
Okay. Let us pray. Father God, we come before you now with thanksgiving in our hearts, just thanking you, God, for your many wonderful blessings. We thank you, Father God, for all that you do for us each and every day. We thank you for the bright sunshine. We thank you for the rain. We just thank you, God, for all of the things that you do, and sometimes we just take for granted. We ask you right now to be in the midst of this meeting, to help us to conduct business in a way that's pleasing and acceptable in your sight. Help us to remember that what we're doing is all about the kids, and that we're here for our children, our community, and that we want to lift it up and make it a stronger community for our upbuilding of our community. We thank you. We pray for all of the leaders who are here tonight. We pray for our school board members to listen and make decisions based upon those things that are pleasing in your sight. We pray for everyone that's in attendance. We pray for our leaders who are here from the Sheriff's Department to keep us safe. And we just thank you, God, for all that you do. We thank you, and we ask these and all other things, Father God. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, we'll join as a board with our civility pledge. Please join. I pledge to build a stronger and more effective school board by advocating for civil engagement, respecting others and their viewpoints, and finding solutions for the betterment of my school district. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda that's been posted and sent to us electronically and is also in front of us.
Madam Vice Chair, I make a motion that we accept or approve the agenda that was presented for 7/9/2024 Committee of the Whole meeting.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, right hand. Unanimous. Thank you. Is there any public comment tonight? Thank you. Hearing none, we'll move on. Any unfinished business that needs to come before the board? Thank you. Moving on. Any new business that needs to come before the board? I want to thank the grass crew. I know it was hot today, and I appreciate the fine job they did after the rain yesterday of getting the grass all cut. So hats off to the group that was able to get that done today. Moving on to item number 5, superintendent's report. We're happy that one of our core values is effective leadership, supports learning and optimal performance for all students. And also tonight, our mission statement follows Colleton County School District will prepare every student to graduate with the 21st century education to be globally competitive for their chosen college or career path. We always keep that at the forefront of our minds. So Superintendent Williams, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Trustee Strobel. And I want to say good afternoon to all board members and good afternoon to the public. Thank everyone for being here with us tonight. Before I begin my report tonight, I would like to take just a moment to introduce our new Assistant Superintendent of Operational Management. And I'd like to ask Dr. Martin Wright if he would stand at this time so that I can formally introduce him to the board and to the public tonight. Dr. Wright is a native of South Carolina Carolina. He has an extensive background in educational leadership, having led at the district and school levels. He has 21 years of public educational leadership experience in South Carolina and Georgia, and has established himself as an innovative and results-oriented leader. Dr. Wright is a graduate of Claflin University, where he received his BS degree in elementary education. Additionally, he holds a master's degree in technology in education from Lesley University. He holds an education specialist degree in administration and supervision from Lincoln Memorial University, and a Doctor of Philosophy degree in organizational leadership from Columbia International University. He is married to Dr. Jennifer Wright, and they have one adult child, Justin Wright. And we're so grateful to have Dr. Wright with us as he works and partners with us to strengthen and uplift our school district. So just wanted to introduce him. Thank you. All right, if you would look at the next slide I have. As you are aware, the district and schools are busily preparing for the new school year. You know, it's almost the end of July. It's quickly approaching. And I just want you to be aware that my goals as superintendent have been solidified, and that they have been shared with our district leadership team, not only the council that's here, but also our extended council as well. My goals have been shared with them. And our goal is to work towards ensuring that we make the mission statement of this district a reality. I prefaced, if you would go to the next slide, please. That slide was supposed to be, yeah. I prefaced this slide with that information because we are increasing our support to the high school, to our secondary schools, to ensure that our students are college and career ready. And through the State Department of Education, we have been afforded a consultant who is working with Ms. Bodison and her staff, along with the guidance counselors, CDFs at the high school, to increase our efforts to ensure that our students are on track for graduation and that they are college and career ready. And this is very important because it's a part of our school report card. And we do have an associate, her name is Amy Dellinger, and she's working very closely with our high school team. And I've also put some other supports in place that I will talk about at a later date. Okay, next slide. Just wanted to let you know that next week, July 16th through the 18th, we will kick off the 24-25 school year with our leadership retreat, and I will be hosting that along with the district leadership. The retreat will be held at Dogwood Hills Country Club, and we have planned leadership topics that are aligned with our mission, our vision, and our strategic plan. We've been very intentional in planning this retreat, and we have a very heavy focus this year on instruction. I know that you remember that we have been a part of trainings offered through the State Department because of our designations, and our leadership retreat is very focused on those topics that we've talked about through our district training with our district turnaround team. The next slide pretty much outlines it just gives you an overview of some upcoming events for the district. And just to highlight a few of them, our teacher and support staff of the year banquet, and I know Ms. Hamilton has this in her report as well, will be held on Thursday, next Thursday, July 18th, and everyone is cordially invited to attend this event. And I want to thank the HR department for planning this beautiful event. It was very nice last year, and I know they're looking forward to a very nice event this year. Also on that slide, you will see that at the high school, their scheduled pickup is scheduled for July 22nd through the 23rd. So on the 22nd, the seniors and the juniors are going to pick up their schedules, and then on the 23rd, the sophomore and the freshmen will pick up their schedules. On July 23rd through the 25th, we will have our new teacher orientation at that time, and I know that the HR department, along with curriculum and instruction, along with student services, all of our departments are working together, finance, technology, everybody's working together to make sure that our new teachers are welcomed and that they're given the information that they need to be successful in our district. Our teachers return on July 29th. And then we will have our back-to-school meeting the teacher nights at the high school on July 31st. And then on August 1st, we'll have our back-to-school night at our elementary and middle schools. I don't have the times written there. I know we will talk a little bit more about that, or Ms. Hedden might have that in her report. So if you would talk about the times for those back-to-school nights. We will have our back-to-school convocation, and it will be a little different this year. We're going to have that on August 2nd. It's going to be an outdoor event. I know that it's hot, but we're going to pray for covering so that it's not quite as hot. We listened to our teachers in our teacher forum that I had this year, and they wanted to do an outdoor event and just have some fun to bring in the new year. So I have a committee that's working diligently on that, and we're looking forward to that on August 2nd. And then on August 5th, our students' first day, they come back to school. And at this time, I just want to, for those who are listening, I want to encourage our parents to make sure that their students are here on the very first day of school, August 5th. That's the first day of school, and we just want to make sure that that is echoed loud and clear so everyone knows that August 5th is that day. We will give you some updates at the regular board meeting next Tuesday as far as dress code and supply lists and all of those different things. We will talk about that at our regular board meeting.
Ms. Williams, if
Yes,
I
sir.
may.
Yes, sir.
I noticed that bells used to have, colors was red, and I've been, people been inquiring about going back to that, they red shirts, and I would just like the board to think about that and, maybe later on, talk about it some.
Yes. So I do know that I think Bell's school shirt, and please correct me if I'm wrong, district leaders, their school shirt I think is red. So on special occasions, like when they have field day or, other activities for the school, they are allowed to wear their school shirts and their school colors at that time. Our dress code doesn't include the red color. I think it's blue, white, navy blue, light blue. It's on our website.
That's what I'm referring to. They dress code colors. I'd like for that to go back to red, like it was when they first began, because it's something that they want and they liked at the time, and so that's why I was inquiring about it.
Okay, all right. Well, we can certainly discuss that, Mr. Murdaugh. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Okay, the next slide. This slide it just outlines some of the professional development that is either occurring now or will be occurring in the month of July. And I'm not going to read through all of that, but I do want you to note that we will have a district-wide PD Day on July 31st, and that's where all of our teachers come together at the high school, and we have different sessions that everyone attends. And that's planned for July 31st. Curriculum instruction is very heavy in planning that particular day. Okay, and the next slide in my report, just wanted to remind all board members of our joint meeting with the Colleton County Council on Monday, July 15th at 5 o'clock. This particular meeting will be held at the Low Country Regional Airport Conference Room. We're working with the County Administrator's Office. Ms. Hyman is working with the Administrative Assistant for the county to develop the agenda. I think it's already developed. Is that agenda?
She is working on that agenda, and she'll have to as soon as they finish.
Okay, and when they finish, we will certainly forward that agenda to you. And at this time, I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have concerning my portion of the report. Okay, no questions. I'm now going to ask Dr. Jenkins if she would come forward. There were some questions, I think, at our last meeting concerning intra-district transfers, and she's going to come up and present the data that was in your report. Dr. Jenkins?
Williams, I just want to compliment you for getting that service for graduation rates to support our high school and how you're tying our mission to what the state is doing with our college and career ready. So thank you for highlighting that.
Good evening, school board members.
Good evening.
Superintendent Williams, one and all. I would like to share updates on our intra-district transfers. Right now, we have a total number of 132 requests, which 87 of those requests are renewals and 45 are initials. And the top 5 reasons at this time for these requests are parents do not want their children home unsupervised. Some local daycare centers, well, many of the local daycare centers that do not provide pickup options for parents. And some parents just mainly prefer their children being closer to them. Those are the parents like those families, those parents we have that work for our local agencies. And of course, we are factoring in our Colleton County School District employee options. So again, we have a total of 132 intra-district transfers. And that concludes my report.
So may I ask Dr. Jenkins a question?
Sure, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Dr. Jenkins. I was just
Good evening.
wanted to know if at this time any of our elementary schools are at capacity to the extent that a transfer request would not be honored because of capacity.
To my knowledge, at this time, none of our elementary schools are at capacity. Would you know that?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any more questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. I just wanted to highlight, I know that Ms. Whitkin asked about the capacity. Not to our knowledge, our schools are at that capacity, but I just wanted to make it known that the transfer window has closed. You know, we do sometimes have appeals, and we will look at those appeals and make those decisions based upon space in our schools, but we also look at discipline, attendance, all of those things play a part in that as well, especially when a student is a parent is requesting that their child's transfer be extended, and if they have attendance issues, discipline issues, those kinds of things, the normal decision is to place them back at their home school so that they can have that bus transportation in order to get to school on time. Just wanted to emphasize that.
Understood. Ms. Joel, may I ask another question or just make another comment?
Sure.
And that is to say that I appreciate that that window, Dr. Jenkins and Ms. Williams, for a request is typically communicated and publicized in the spring, and there is a designated time for those transfers to be considered. but you mentioned it already being closed. But so this year's have already passed that time frame, but we still, if anyone is interested for next year, they need to pay attention to those dates. So if they were interested,
Right, most definitely.
submit that request then.
Yes, usually
and understanding that the attendance and discipline are taken into consideration, as well as the capacity of the actual school building.
Right, that's correct. Usually that window opens in February through, and it's a long window, the end of March, the end of May. Yeah, February until the end of May. So it's a pretty big window.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That ends my report unless you have any additional questions. Okay, thank you.
Moving on, thank you, Superintendent Williams. Moving on, number 6 on our agenda, we'll hear from Mrs. Hamilton for the Human Resource Report. And as she's coming to the podium, one of our core values, every member of Team Colleton works for kids and makes important contributions towards becoming a world-class school system. And we appreciate all of our faculty and staff and the parents and our stakeholders that help us support our students.
Good evening. Before you have the number of vacancies to date. I do have some corrections for you guys to note. It's on the middle school, high school side. So no changes to the elementary just yet. For Colleton County High School, there's 6 vacancies. So there's 3 science, 2 special ed, and 1 sports med. Okay, and then for the middle school, there's 4 vacancies, 1 ELA, SPED, Spanish, and then PE. Okay, leaving that a total of 10. In the report, I've included the number of full-mind educators that we will have to start the school year because we're void of an in-person teacher at the time. So we have 0 at the elementary school. At the middle school, we have 1 ELA, 1 Spanish, and at the high school, we have 3 biology, 1 Spanish. So I did a year-to-year comparison, and from July 1st of 2023 to July 9th, really, of 2024, we have 6. This does not include the number of SPED educators. Also wanted to just give you or remind you of the upcoming events hosted from the HR department. We have the Teacher of the Year, Support Employee of the Year banquet that will be held in this room on July 18th, which is next Thursday. And then on July 23rd, we will welcome all of our new employees at the high school in the auxiliary gym, beginning at 8:30. And then July 24th through the 25th, our new teachers will be engaged in PD with CNI. And then on the 29th, our teachers will return. And that is all that I have, unless you have some questions for me.
Ms. Hamilton, the full mind teachers, is that the virtual teachers?
Sir.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
And you said that didn't include SPED. Does that mean we have a number for SPED? Do we know that number?
Dr. Durden.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So for special education, we have a total of 7 full mind right now. Compared to last year, we had a total of 17 virtual. So right now we have 7 virtual compared to 17 at this time last year. We have a total of 12 contracted teachers compared to 18 from last year. So we are working to bring those numbers down. We have made a slight, I call it dent into that number, and we're going to continue working on trying to get Colleton County personnel in those schools.
Do you have there with you the breakdown of where those 7 full mind teachers are?
Yes, right now, Cottageville has 1, Henderson has 1, Northside has 1, the middle school has 2, the high school has 1, and then the new program at the alternative school has 1.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for me? No? Thank you.
And if I might, Vice Chair Strobel, I just want to thank the Department of Human Resources and the Office of Exceptional Learning for reducing those numbers of virtual teachers, because we know that face-to-face learning is more compatible for our students, and I know they've been working very hard trying to reduce those numbers. And as far as those contracted teachers, I know Dr. Durden is continuing to work on that, because those are a little bit more expensive for us as well. So I just want to thank them for their efforts.
Second that, for sure. I was about to say the same thing, so thank you to helping us with that. And we do know there are some virtual situations that are quite exceptional. I can read in different reports, but most of us prefer that teacher in the classroom with our students. Moving on to number 7 on our report, we'll now hear our curriculum and instruction report. And as she's coming up, our core value, one of our core values, the purpose of teaching and learning, is one of our most important core values.
Good evening, board members. You have my information from the June board report. I know Ms. Williams said that she wanted to share some of our statistics from our summer learning program with you. So the C&I department provided on-site support for the summer learning program. We had one program at Forest Hills Elementary for our pre-K through 5th grade students. Do I need to stop? Okay. And then we had the other program at the high school, and that was for our secondary students. So we had a total of 243 students that attended our FIT 2.0 program at Forest Hills, and then we had a total of 240 students that were at Colleton County High School. So our students that attended the summer learning program, they attended for a variety of reasons. The most common was either for content recovery or for enrichment. So with the first graph for our elementary campus, you can see our enrollment numbers. Our 4K program, we had 21. None of those students attended for content recovery, as well as our 5K program, 33 students. Again, none attended for content recovery. Our 1st through 5th grade, we had 36 students in first grade, and we had 5 that attended for content recovery, 44 in 2nd, 4 attended for content recovery. 4th grade, 36 attended with 2 for content recovery, and then in 5th grade, 38 attended, 19 were for content recovery. And then you can see our passage rates. Our passage rates were pretty high in all of those grades except for 4th grade. For the elementary students that attended, the majority of our students were promoted. For grade 3, there were reasons that were given for those students attended. Again, were for enrichment, content recovery, and some of our students were our Read to Succeed students. So for our content recovery, 100% of those students passed. For our Read to Succeed students, 83% of those passed. At the secondary campus, the majority of the students that were there for the content recovery, we had again a high passage rate. You can see the grades 6th through 12th grade. We had 73 students that attended for content recovery, and the majority of those students passed as well. We also had 2 programs, GAP and Gear Up. Those were enrichment programs. We had 73 students that were there for GAP and 94 students that were there for our Gear Up program. So C&I, again, Ms. Williams said earlier, we've been working on some of our professional development, and we have our district professional development day will be held on Wednesday, July 31st at the high school. That will take place from 8:30 to 3:30. We will just have a variety of PD offerings for our staff members, and then our back-to-school nights for the high school. That's going to be held on that Wednesday, July 31st. The times for that will be 4 to 7. And then on August the 1st, our Blackstreet Early Childhood Center will have their open house back-to-school night, 3:30 to 5:30. All elementary schools will have it again on August the 1st from 3:30 to 6, and our middle school will have it on the same night from 4 to 7. So it's a little bit of a break in there for parents who have students at multiple campuses to get from one campus to another. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have for me.
Ms. Hedden, was there a slide for those dates you were given and the times?
No, Ms. Williams just asked. We have them on our professional development calendar, so when I came up, I just thought I would give you that additional information.
Okay.
I would like to make a statement. It's not a question, but according to our contents recovery, can we take a different approach to beginning of the school year? I'm happy that we do have the contents recovery, but our children need to be more serious when they come into school to prevent a lot of this. I'm glad that the opportunity arises where they can make up and go to the next level, but I feel that we need to make them more serious. After the first report card and they're not doing well, I think the parents need to come into a meeting. I mean, it needs to be serious. They don't need to play around and then wait for that opportunity to make up. I feel that they should do their best while they're in school.
Well, I do agree with that, and one of the...
And I know it's not easy.
No. One of the things that I would like to do and have plans to do for this upcoming year is to look at, we hold retention meetings at each one of the 9 weeks, but how we hold them and what happens after that and the follow-up with it, I would like to see become more robust, and I have plans for making some revisions to that. And because a lot of times you hear from the parents, well, I didn't know. Well, you know, we also need to ensure that our parents are kept up to speed all along the way, and making sure that they understand that where their child is, and being very plain in how we, you know, portray to them the child's academic accomplishments. If they're failing, then just tell them they're failing, and you know, try to encourage them to partner with us to move that child along. And we had a lot of schools that, you know, held Saturday schools, and so I know this is something that's on the hearts of the principals as well. They are looking outside the box to find ways to bring the kids in to make that progress all along the way. So, I mean, they did a lot of work on that this year, so I do agree with you on that.
And when I went to the conference in Texas, that is one of the things that a lot of the schools, especially the schools in Georgia, they had that weekend. And I think that when you take away something, then they'll get serious about it, because a lot of them don't want to give their weekends up. So a Saturday class, have them come in. You know, I know it's going to take a little bit more to get all of those things accomplished, but it's just that our children are smart, but they don't need to come to school and play around. I have a grandson, and I know what he does. He will sit around and play his electronics, and he'll tell me, well, I'm above my grade level. Why do I need to read today? I said, because you're going to continue to be above your level. So parents need to get more involved and just make sure that our children are getting what they need, and not wait till it's almost too late to try to make up. You know, so we just have to take a different approach with them.
I agree. Yes, ma'am, I will be glad to look into that and work on that.
Ms. Hedden, I wonder, as we're looking at the modified calendar that we're on, that we're able to start, you know, early in August, do you feel like we're able to capture the heart of that extra month of school, the month of June being a month of, you know, school for those students, that they understand that's extended learning and, you know, not just summer school, but an extension of what they didn't do during the school year?
I think, yes, I think so, because, we had them for 4 weeks, and a lot of what Ms. Simmons just said, they really put in a lot of effort. We went out to the schools and we had retention meetings, and prior to that last week, and said, okay, listen, you've only got X number of days to go. You got to get your work done or you're not going to make it. And they have the ability, the majority of them, but they're not always putting forth the effort. They had a lot of support. We had a lot of staff members at both campuses, and so they had a lot of encouragement. I mean, we had one young man, when he came in and he found out that he had passed, he broke down and cried, and this is a high school student, because he was so concerned that he wasn't going to make it. But he worked really hard for those 4 weeks to make up and to, and also he felt very proud that he set a goal and he accomplished that goal. So that's another part of it. We have to work with our students to let them see you can do it, but you've got to set attainable goals and work toward them.
Another thing I know we talked about last year, was iReady able to be used in any way with the summer learning?
Yes, we did use it. It was utilized just like we do during the course of the year. They were on it for like 20 minutes a day, because they had a lot of content they had to recover for a lot of the students. But we also tried to make it an engaging program, because who wants to come and be, in a situation where you're, driven all day long. So we tried to make it fun. We had a lot of related arts activities for them, hands-on STEM activities and things like that. And we also do surveys at the end of each of the programs, and we ask the kids, the parents, and the staff, what did you like? What didn't you like? What would you like to see more of? So we'll take those surveys and the voices of what they said, and then we'll use it in the planning for upcoming programs. One thing they want, and I can already tell you this, they want more field trips, and that was something that we were not able to do this year, is do a field trip at the secondary level, and they really wanted that. But from last year's survey, they wanted more physical ed time, and we did increase that and make that available to them. So we want to show them that their opinions and their thoughts matter, and we take it and we incorporate it into our planning for the new year.
Well, thank you for the team that made that happen, and Forest Hills and the high school being able to accommodate the cleaning and all that has to happen during the summer. So, and the super tutors, I know, enjoyed being a part of that.
And we had a great time with Arts Now. That was a partner, and they partnered with us at Forest Hills. And so that was a great, partnership there. So, and we are extremely thankful to the principals who welcomed us into their schools.
And the pictures that communication was able to share.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other comments for curriculum?
We'll just continue with consistency. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hedden. We'll move on to number 8 on our agenda, the finance report. And as Ms. Barrett is coming up, one of our core values, organizational development and professional growth opportunities for all employees are essential to becoming a world-class school system.
Good evening to the board members, and good evening to everyone in the audience. I just want to say, I want to thank the board for giving the Finance Department the opportunity to invest our funds into the LGIP for the state treasurer. And I just wanted to give you a report as how much fund that has come into the district since we made the investment. For the month of May, we had one day, and that day we made $2,729.61. But for the month of June, we made an interest $78,978.78. So for the whole year to date, we made $81,708.39 for our interest. So. Okay. Just want to give you a little background of what's going on now with the finance department. Right now, when you see our reports that we have for June, is not all-inclusive because right now, this is our end of the year. And during the end of the year, we have what we call accruals, where we have to take anything that came in from July to August, we have to put it back into June as expense and put it back into June as revenue. So if you look at the report now, it's not going to be apples to apples because in 23, you're looking at the accruals, and in 24, we haven't done the accruals yet. And so that's why you're going to see a little difference. But the reason why we do the accruals is because we're trying to get ready for our financial statements that's going to be prepared by our auditors. In order to do that, we have a lot of work that we have to do. We have a lot of expenses, revenue that have to go into well, we call it the new year because we're still working into it, but go back into the prior year that we're working into. And the books are closed and turned over to the district financial auditors, Marling and Jenkins, in September. And when we turn over the books to them, we're still constantly working in 2 years. We still have everything going on in new year that we have to keep abreast upon. Plus, we got the old year that we are closing out with. And we are doing this until the auditors do the financial report and have to go to the state until December 1st. So up till then, we are working 2 years the whole time. So, and hopefully by then, December 1st, we should have an audit. Once we get that, our financial statement, we should know whether or not we made a gain this year or whether or not we have not made a gain. So we'll get that once the financial statements are given to us by the auditors. Any questions about that? Okay, thank you.
I have a question before the revenue and expenses are reviewed for the month, Ms. Barrett. If you don't mind, we saw over the holiday weekend vetoes from the governor. Can you give any explanation? I'm trying to follow and don't quite understand how that's going to impact this year's budget.
Okay. Well, what's going on around with the governor's office is that the budget was, passed. It wasn't passed, but the budget was reviewed, and then the Senate and the House sent the budget over to the governor. And of course, the governor had 5 days in order to veto some of the things. Either he's going to accept the budget, but as of today, he vetoed some of the things in the budget, but it wasn't anything particularly pertaining to us. But for the appropriation for the school district, we are going to get our appropriations for 24-25 from the state. It's not going to, our budget really will not be affected anyway by what's going on now with the state. They're going to continue to give us funds. We probably won't get our next funds until July, and even if they don't give us the total appropriation for this year, they're still going to give us appropriation for the month of July. But once they approve the budget totally, any money that is due to us, they will send it to us, and we will get anything that is due to us. But right now, because we do have our fund balance and all the funds, I'm not worried about us being able to make our financial ends that we need to make, our financial responsibility, because we have enough money in order to do that. So we'll be fine once the governor approved the budget.
Thank you. It was just very confusing as to what he was vetoing, and I didn't understand the impact, so happy to know it's not affecting our district. Thank you.
Yeah, none of the vetoes affected our funding appropriations. It was nothing like that. When you look at the local revenue, like I said, this is just in time because we haven't done the accruals yet, which is going to go into the June of 24, but you have the accruals in June of 23. But as you look at right now, we have a decrease in change in revenue, but I'm expecting we probably have more increase in revenue because we haven't accrued the old money yet into the old year in order for us to come up with the real revenue for June. The ELA funding, basically that's all we're going to get because we have already got everything at the end of June, and there is a decrease of $509,652.77. If you look at our year-to-date expenditures, but I'll get into that a little later, but yeah, that's a decrease. But our revenue from the state funding has decreased by $1 million that we didn't get because during the year when the students are not there, we lose money. So what they budgeted us last last year and what we received now at the end of June, because they're finished paying us everything, we are $1,097,000 we are short that what we budgeted because of our students, not being there. And then the federal fund, we haven't claimed anything yet because we wanted to make sure that everything is done so we can properly claim everything. But last year we went on and claimed, and we had ESSA 2 and we had ESSA 3, so that's why we had a big claim. But once we claim everything in August 15, we have our total monies that's going to go back into June of 24. So we will accrue those revenue into June of 24. And then for food services, what happened last year is that the State Department had a problem with their financials, and there was a problem of getting food service somehow their funding. So last year, they gave it to them all at one time at the end of the year for 2 months, and this year, they came on time, so that's why the difference in that. So we have a decrease of $8,550,593.04 as of now, but it probably won't be that much because we have accruals that we still have to do for the end of the year. And as of now, as far as the June 24th, far as the expense, it looked like we have less expense, but in June of 23, you have accruals that we have to do for payroll, which is 3 months of accrual that take place in the new year, but it's expenses that was done in the old year, so we have to put that back into the old year, and we haven't done that yet for June. And the special revenue, that's all we're going to, expenses for the special revenue is basically done. We do have a decrease in our special revenue expenses because the State Department, we had some funds that was given to us in EIA special revenue, and they roll it up and put it into the general fund. So that's why we have decreases. And the federal fund, of course, the reason why we have less is because we don't have the ESSA 2 anymore, and we're spending down all of our ESSA funds. So basically, we try to, so we don't have that much ESSA fund that we were spending. I think a lot of what we have left, or most of it is in capital projects. So we haven't really spent that down a lot yet. And the food service basically is almost the same with expenditure. It's a little different of $7,000, but our total revenue, it looked like it's a big difference of $7,682,384, a decrease. But until we actually do all of our accruals and everything like that, we really wouldn't know anything yet. But this is just to give you a summary of where we are now as of June 24th. But once we do the accruals, we'll come back and tell you where we are after that. Any questions? Okay, thank you so much.
I'm sorry, Ms. Barrett, can I ask a question about the budget report? I don't know any other way to identify the Colleton County School District budget report by fund. Do you know which one I'm talking about? It looks like it's the board budget, maybe?
Oh, the board budget, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Why do we have 2 line items for purchase services? We have one that's like 5 down, and then we have one that's 4 from the bottom.
Okay, the one I see is one purchase services with the $3,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we have that. And then the other purchase services is, the purchase services has to do with a function code. And if you talk about the function, I mean the object code, a 390 purchase services is a different object code than it was a 312. A 312 object code is purchase services for services that's not in the district, people who come in and do extra work.
Right.
A 390 purchase code is people that come out of the district, but they're in a different category of different things that we have. So that's why we have it.
So what is a $3,000 purchase service expense that was not budgeted?
Well, that was Ms. Bagley's.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
her.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any other questions for finance? These don't need vote until next week, but they're up for discussion if anyone has questions. will we hear the capital project and ESSER update next week, or are those just things we need to review in our report? Since they're on our agenda, I'm just asking for clarification.
The ESSER report you do have, and if you have any questions concerning that, we'll be happy to answer.
Any questions for item 8.04 capital project or 8.05 ESSER update? Hearing none, if you have any that come up before next week's vote, you can email Superintendent Williams and she'll be happy to get the answers. Moving on to item 9, we're moving to our operations report, and we'll be hearing that report. And the core value, a safe, secure, and positive environment will be conducive for teaching and learning.
Okay, I'm going to ask, because of the order of this report, we have the Office of Student Nutrition. If you have any questions concerning that, I can certainly get those answers for you, but I do know that student nutrition is in the process of closing out for the 23-24 school year. Ms. Finley is working very diligently to pull up those responsibilities until we replace that position. So if you have any questions, I can certainly get those answers for you. But I'm going to ask now that Mr. Bradley come forward to give you his report, and then followed by Mr. Hamilton.
Superintendent Williams, if it's okay, just as Mr. Bradley is coming, I just want to say it's very good to see you, sir. We have been praying for you and hope everything is well and you're doing much better, but it's very good to have you back with us.
Thank you for that. I'm blessed to be here. Board members, Madam Chair, Superintendent Williams, those that are here, blessed to be here again, and thank you for that. Transportation, I'm real excited about the new year. I know you probably haven't heard a whole lot from me in the last year, but that's hopefully going to change. So I'm really happy to say that the rollover was successful for us. Into the new year, with students downloaded into our routing software, Traversa. We're working really hard with the new routes right now, but that was a success. Mrs. Varn and her group was able to download that for us a week earlier than normal. So that's a big scheduled timeline for us, which makes a big deal, because our goal is to make the routes as safe, number one, and efficient, number two, the best that we can do for Colleton County. That's our goal, each and every day. The second thing is we're going to have our driver in service, and there's a typo on that date. It'll be July 31st at the middle school, will be our state in service at the middle school, starting at 8 a.m. And then on August 1st, the next day, is when we complete our dry runs with our new routes. Drivers will go out and make those stops at every stop they're going to make on August the 5th to make sure the route runs smoothly, the route is, number one, safe, and we have good communication to our parents. I reached out and wanted to make sure that there is a deadline for signing up for the school bus. We have to be able to draw the line in the sand to get those routes completed and out. So that July 23rd would be the line in the sand for us to get those parents to sign up for school bus. Now, if they don't, they miss that deadline, they're obviously going to have to be car riders the first few days, but go ahead and get that into the Power School clerks at the schools, and we are going to add them as fast as we can. Because if it's already a community stop or other children are already there, we can get them added very expeditiously to the route. But just have the hard lines got to be drawn in the sand to make sure we get those routes completed, because our drivers are going to drive those on August the 1st.
Ms. Riley, thanks for mentioning that date publicly, and I just wonder, Superintendent Williams, how do we communicate that strongly to parents so they're, don't have any hiccups with that first day? How are we putting that word out for?
So it will be communicated on all of our platforms. We'll have that to go out very, very soon. All of our platforms and also our schools also communicate that out as well. We will most likely do an auto dialer as well to make sure that they get the information right at the tip of their fingers on their phones at home as well.
Thank you.
There's three things that are very vital to the success of transportation, especially on the first 2 days of school. And one is that we're safe. We know there are going to be delays in transportation the first 2 days of school. It's just what it is. That's okay, because the bottom line, if we get home safely that night and I can put my head on the pillow, we're good. That gets better in time. We still have to get that word out to parents because they're antsy about where's my baby, I understand that. But we're going to communicate through the dialer system on routes, and we can do that by route number. But I can tell you now, parents and board, that the first 2 days of school, these buses are going to be late. I'll be speaking with Dr. Wright and Miss Jessica concerning the first couple days of school, that I personally would like to see the elementary bus riders get out about 10 minutes earlier. We've done this before in the past, but it hasn't been approved by the superintendent yet, just so we can take time, because that's instructional time for those students and first-time bus riders to be acclimated to the school bus. And principals do a good job in helping, because that day, we want to make sure the child gets on the right bus, and there's no lost children. That's the second part of the first 2 days of school. No lost children, safe, and obviously we want to be efficient and communicate to parents. With that, again, the 23rd of July being the deadline for that. And then the last point would be that we have, transportation has temporarily located down the hall in the middle school. And I can tell you for a fact that the demolition crew is, Mr. Hamilton is in there demoing that area, the alternative area. And I can tell you that transportation has a lot more stuff than I thought I had. Anytime you move, we all find out in life anyway, but yes, we do. But I'm proud to be that that's finally being moved, and we're moving, executing that part of the move for the district. I know it'll be a good one, so I'm excited about that. But I'm, again, glad to be here. Thank you. Any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them at this time.
Mr. Bradley, I do have a question for you, but before I do that, before I forget, Superintendent Williams, just kind of echoing on what Ms. Strobel said, the information that Mr. Bradley just shared about the first few days of school, we know we're going to have some late routes and all. Again, even if we can just tie that in with the deadline for let's flood our communications with those things, so maybe we can head off some of those phone calls and all in the first few days, and just let them know we know it's going to be, you know, kind of hit and miss the first few days, but that'll get better. Mr. Bradley, my question is, where are you as far as staff goes right now? How many drivers short are you? Are we going to be able to be in good shape to start the year, or?
That's a very good question. We have 45 drivers that are right now on the payroll. We're usually about a half a dozen short, but the good news is, the end of last year, we did some head counts in May. We did them back in the spring to see who's actually riding our school buses. We have a lot that sign up, but some never show up to ride the school bus. So that then we have to consolidate and cut routes, just as we did during summer school. So we have already condensed 2 routes at the end of last year. We're starting out fresh with that this year, which will help us with the lack of the shortfall for drivers. We also have 1 driver that's ready to test, and we have 4 new applicants that HR sent us as well to, and 2 of those 4 already have CDL licenses with the P&S endorsement. That is your passenger school bus endorsement, which will take you less time to actually get that driver in the seat. I don't rush them to get them in the seat as bad as I need them in the seat, because I want to make sure that the trainers know this from me, that when you feel comfortable to put your grant on that bus with that new driver, then they're ready to go on the road.
So Mr. Bradley, the 45 that we have currently employed, does that put us where we need to be for the start of the year, or are we going to have double routes going?
Well, we got tiered routes anyway. That's
okay.
Part of our plan, and we have some single tier routes as part of our plan that they can back into and cover. It's just some delays. The elementary in the morning, on time every morning, unless the bus goes down mechanically. That's not the issue. In the afternoon is usually when we see the delays picking up from school, but not in the morning. We have about 3 or 4 buses at the end of last year that were arriving 2 to 3 minutes later, but that was due to having to double up or do something extra.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Bradley, with the heat problem we're having now, the air condition for those buses when they start rolling the first Monday in August?
Yes, August is not a favorable month for a school bus. That's a tin can. It doesn't have insulation in it like your home does. It's very hot. We lower the windows when we stop and park in the morning as they do their post-trip checking for sleeping children. We lower those windows. Buses are sitting on that parking lot with no shade all day long until we fire them back up. I'll say all buses have AC, but they're just not going to be as efficient as we'd like them to be. So we want to make sure parents have plenty of water for their child on the bus, get on so they're hydrated. When you're sweating, that's still good. It's a good thing. It's when you stop sweating is when you're in trouble. But our drivers, we have some monitors on regular ed buses too that we're also making sure that our employees are hydrated properly as well, because that is some tough times in August, but we are aware of that and we know how to handle that. For the most part, we just want to make sure parents are aware too, to make sure when they see their child coming home and they're a little bit wet, it's not because of our choice. It's the season that we're in, and August 5th is going to be a hot day, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question for you, but I would like to echo to Superintendent Williams. Just echo to the principal, letting them know that when the buses are late, children should not be counted as absent.
Yes.
Because we have had some of that, the last school term.
Yes, ma'am, most definitely. And actually, we had that discussion at our last principals meeting because that concern was brought forward as well. But I'll make sure at our leadership retreat to make sure that I reiterate that. Thank you.
Also, it's an excused tardy with bus, so that shouldn't be a problem, right? Not absent or tardy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. And now we hear our building and ground report. Mr. Hamilton?
Good afternoon, board members and Superintendent Williams and everyone in attendance. Like Mr. Bradley said, we started our transportation department that we had to move them out to space, and so that project is going on really well now, getting started in that area. Also, I have bids and contracts for the HVAC at Black Street and HVAC at the middle school, also the roof at this building, and expecting some more. This is not ESSER, but the parking at the middle school as well. So that the pre-bid is Thursday, and the bid is next Thursday.
So basically, you on top of...
Yeah, and I don't know if you want me to go over the other ones. We're completing a lot. If you've seen the track at the middle school, it's about 9% that has to cure before they put the lines down, so you'll see it'll be abandoned for a little while. And like I said, the bus parking lot, the bleachers, the equipment is slowly coming in. The canopy at Bell's, I'm repackaging that to put it back out to bid, as well as the high school roof. We're repackaging that, redesigning and repackaging it to put it back out to bid as well. Doing a lot of other work. The weight room floors is done. We are doing a lot of floor work during this time. A lot of painting, athletic field, and we finally awarded the 2 service contracts for custodial service and the lift station. Anything else?
Ms. Strobel?
The slides are just catching up, Mr. Hamilton, sorry,
Okay.
with what you were saying. Ms. Whitkin, go ahead. We're getting the slides updated that he was just speaking of, if you have a question.
Sure. I just didn't know if you spoke about the middle school parking lot as well as the bleachers at the middle school. Based on the information that is provided, it does not sound like those projects are going to be completed by the end of summer?
No, not at the beginning of school, but we have a contingency plan for that with the assistant AD at the middle school, and I'm working on the plan with Mr. Bradley on the bus parking lot.
So what about the parking lot on the sixth grade side for drop off and pickup? Will we be able to make those fixes for all the potholes on that side of the school before the start of school?
Yeah, that's our goal. What I did with the bid for the high school, the middle school, we had the $410,000. So I did a base bid of the parking lot and 3 alternates, and that's to do the what was the sixth grade pickup, and also the lane that you pick it up. So we're going to have a variety of price to look at and see where we can fit those dollars in that project.
And that'll be before August the 5th.
Excuse me.
She wanted to know if that'll be before students start the first Monday in August.
Well, yeah, the driveway at the sixth grade, yes.
Terrific, thank you. And then the middle school bleachers, that says the lead time is 13 to 15 weeks. So when will those bleachers be complete? Could that be done during Christmas? It doesn't sound like it can be done this school year, or will we have to close the gym while that's being done?
Yeah, well, like I said, I was working with the AD, the assistant AD at the middle school on a plan to, we may have to move them and work around it. I put in the contract that most of the work will be done on the weekends, so, allowing a late Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's how I structured the instructions in the bid.
Thank you, Mr. Hamilton.
Ms. Hamilton, I appreciate that we're repackaging the Hendersonville and Bells cover for the kids with the rain and these afternoon storms that we have. Can you speak to where we are with that repackaging and job order contract concept?
Well, we originally, I originally met with the job order contract, and they can go with it, but I'm bidding it to try to get someone local.
Mr. Hamilton, I have just 2 quick questions. The first one is, where do we stand with the air conditioner in the superintendent's suite in this building? Has that been fixed?
Well, we've been working on it, and we found a part. We're going to Charleston tomorrow to get it, and hopefully that'll be the key to it. If you notice that all of the heads on the unit is not working, that like the hallway is cool, but inside the suite is warm. So, and when I say heads, it's the evaporator units that's in the ceiling.
And my other question, Mr. Hamilton, the maintenance contract for the field maintenance and stuff that I have asked for, do we have that available?
Yes, we do. I thought Susan sent that after the last board meeting. Well, I'll get with Ms. Crosby and get that to you.
Thank you.
Thanks to you and the procurement for getting that lift station maintenance, so we can make sure we have that when you need to call, that's available. And I hope you find that to be a successful project.
Okay. Thank you very much.
We thank you all for what you all do in each department. I know it's a lot of hard work getting everything together, but just know that we appreciate, from my heart. Thank you.
Definitely, yes, a lot of work. Thank you, Ms. Simmons, definitely a lot of work to pull it all together for all these buildings and buses and all of the moving parts. And Superintendent Williams, we're moving on to our 9.02 ESSER funded project update on the agenda.
Mr. Hamilton, are you prepared to give an update on the ESSER funded projects? Okay.
Basically, the ESSER projects that was identified are all been bid, and we are moving ahead with, like I said, the HVAC, which is ESSER funded, the nail, Bob and nail, that's ESSER funded, the robotics that's ESSER funded, and so we're moving along with all the ESSER projects. And hopefully in a couple of days, we'll be able to encumber all of those funds. And the contract, I put in all the contracts that they have to be substantially complete by October 15th with the goal of paying it out final on October 30th and paying it out before December.
And just so you can see how the report is organized, all of the ESSER-funded report projects are on the first 2 pages of the report, and then all of the 8% funding are the last 2 pages of the report.
And I'll be glad to report that the Black Street was done last weekend, the permanent repairs at Black Street.
That was the insurance repair, right?
Yeah, insurance,
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton, I do have one more, and I didn't even think about it until you mentioned Black Street. I know that for some time there have been extension cord drop lights at the canopy at Black Street. Have those lights been fixed yet?
Yeah, they're permanent now.
What is permanent?
The lights under the canopy?
Is it the lights that are supposed to be under the canopy, or is it the drop cord, drop down lights?
It's not the drop cord drop lights, it's permanent lights.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions for the ESSER report? Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. We've come to the end of our agenda, and we might be able to get out to our cars before the afternoon showers. We'll adjourn, and I'm looking for a motion to adjourn, please.
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion, Mr. Sumner, and a second, Mr. Irwin. And all those in favor, right hand. Thank you. We stand adjourned. And our meeting next week will be 6 o'clock here for our regular meeting. And don't forget, Monday night we'll be with the county council at 5 o'clock at the airport. Thank you. Have